environmental impact assessment in Nigeria. When we say environmental impact assessment, we are also referring to other acronyms that is being used internationally and in other countries, which is environmental and social impact assessment, sometimes environmental, social and health impact assessment, sometimes cumulative impact assessment. So there are different acronyms being used, but right now we are actually looking at environmental impact assessment as it applies in Nigeria. And today we are focused on the statutory fees. Remember, we are on a series of modules, so this particular module is focused on the statutory fees payable to Federal Ministry of Environment in Nigeria when you're considering to do environmental impact assessment. This is a guide. Let me do a disclaimer. This is a guide. This is a document we got from the Federal Ministry of Environment, and it changes from time to time. This is not a final document you should work with. If you send us an email, info@richflood.com, we'll be able to send you updated statutory fees that is payable in Nigeria based on our experience interacting with the Federal Ministry of Environment and based on information available per time. So this is not developed by Richflood. This is developed by the Federal Ministry of Environment and shared with Richflood to be able to advise her client on how to go about preparing for the statutory fees for environmental impact assessment. We have a lot of clients and a lot of proponents investing in some projects, and they are worried. They want to know how much it costs to undertake an EIA. They want to know what to budget for environmental impact assessment. So we have two components for environmental impact assessment: the consultancy fees and the statutory fees. So the statutory fees goes to the Federal Ministry of Environment directly through the remitter account. That's through the Treasury single account of Nigeria. All payments are paid there except maybe operational fees that is being paid maybe on the sites or relevant locations pertaining to the project, but all payments are paid to the Treasury single account. You log into the Federal Ministry of Environment portal on remitter.com. I think it's remitter.com. You log into the remitter.com and then find Federal Ministry of Environment, and then you see all these components that we are going to share in this video. You will see it listed in the portal, and then you can select what you're paying for and pay directly. Usually when this payment is made, then you can now send the information to Richflood office for us to process whatever needs to be processed with the Federal Ministry of Environment based on your payments. So you can reach us if there are issues or there are hiccups or there are mistakes, based on your payments or based on your selection of what you need to pay for on the remitter platform. You can reach us at info@richflood.com. Better still, you can reach the project office at projects at richflood.com so that such issues can be addressed. So I will go through the statutory fees that are payable. I will read through them. This is not edited. This is as gotten from the Ministry of Environment, and this is useful for your planning. It may not be 100% obtainable or 100% updated at the time you may be watching this video, but this is certainly good for planning your statutory fees and budgeting your projects when you are looking at the planning stage of your environmental impact assessment. We have taken other modules before now. We have captured other modules that has to do with what is environmental impact assessment. In case this is the first module you're listening to, you have to go back to the other modules we have done before on our YouTube channel, Richflood Environmental and Social Specialists. If you enter that, you will find Richflood handle, and then you can please follow us so that you can have updates regularly, and then it will really help. Even your staff, please get them to listen to this video, and then the most questions that have been asked at Richflood office could have been solved if these videos are being watched by your staff. So we'll dive in straight. Send us emails, and you can call our office. If you have our details, we'll drop it down below, and follow us please on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube. So in the previous module, I had explained extensively how each of these charges is being executed, how you pay, and what it is for. So in this particular module, I'm going straight to item 11, which has to do with the final access charges and how you arrive at the final access charges. Remember that in module 1, I had mentioned that this could be estimated at between 1.5 to around 3.5 or so, or even 4 million. But that's in Naira, please. This is in Naira. All of this is in Naira, not in dollars. So the final access charge, the estimate is being determined by the next slides I'm going to show. So all of these I have already explained. Please check the YouTube channel and find the module 1 of this presentation so that you can understand each stage all the way to stage 10 and of course stage 11, how it is being determined. So this is for the final access charge and other charges that are sectorial. So now this final access charge is 75% revenue and 25% operational charges. Remember, I explained the difference between revenue charges and operational charges. So I'll just go straight to this, find that video and listen to it for your understanding of what it means to have revenue charges and operational charges. So for agricultural and agro-allied, the final access charge is determined per hectare. You can see the amount 50% per hectare is being calculated. So if you have, let's say, 100 hectares, you can do your estimation desktop and have an estimated amount that should be expected to be paid to the Federal Ministry of Environment account based on your project. So projects differ. Some projects can be like the rice farm that we worked on in Kogi State and in another state up north. I can't remember now that we worked on. They had huge hectareage of land that they did their agricultural works on. So when the final access charge was calculated, the proponent managing director was we did not budget for this. Now you can easily budget for your project. If it's agriculture, you know how many hectares it is. You know the land development scheme is maybe greater than 50 hectares. This is the amount you pay, 50,000 naira per hectare. If it's an agricultural estate greater than 50 hectares, you pay the same 500,000 naira per hectare. If it's wood and timber processing, you pay 50,000 naira per hectare. If it's sawmilling, you pay the same amount. So you can easily do your calculation desktop and have your estimates before coming to Richflood, or after you have received our quotation and you want to do your calculation. You can do this, because most cases we do not affix a figure to this when we're sending you a quote and we do not understand fully what your project is about. So we just leave it blank, but it's good for your budgeting for you to understand what you're paying for and how it is being calculated. So this the next here is fisheries sector. Fishing harbor, you have 500,000 naira lump sum payment. Fishing harbor expansion, you have the same amount, lump sum payment. Land-based agricultural products, aquaculture, over 50 hectares or more of swamp, you have 100,000 naira per hectare. This can be calculated, may be calculated and included in the estimates given to you by Richflood, or sometimes it may not be included. But since you are already listening to this video, we are at peace that you will understand the requirements statutorily and that you would plan these payments ahead of time. So you have forestry here, conversion of hill forest land use covering 50 hectares or more. Here no amount is stipulated. We really don't know why, but we believe maybe it's under, Richflood can't fix this amount or give you an idea. It has to come from the Federal Ministry of Environment. If your project is related to this, you can send us an email at projects@richflood.com. Projects@richflood.com. You can send us an email and we will follow up with the ministry to get estimated amount you should expect to pay for this kind of project. Then logging. Some projects requires logging. Is 300,000 per hectare. Conversion of mangrove swamp for industrial use is 100,000 per hectare, as you can see. Okay, so in the industry and manufacturing, chemicals plants, you can see is 2 million naira, petrochemicals 3 million naira, non-ferrous 1 million naira, non-metallic 1 million naira, and so on. Pulp and paper industry, you can see that food and beverages, you can see that is 1 million naira. So all of this estimates is what you should work with depending on your project, so that we can all be on the same page and the job is easier to execute by Richflood. Infrastructure, if it's a hospital project, is 1 million naira. If it's industrial estate, is 2 million naira. So this may be captured in your estimate by Richflood, like I said earlier, or you just do your estimations and know what to expect. Okay, expressways is 10,000 naira per kilometer per 100 kilometer, or on a pro rata basis 50,000 naira per kilometer. Well, this is the ministry's calculation. So you have construction of ports, 2 million, port expansion 1 million naira, housing development 500,000 naira, airports with runway 2 million naira, airstrip development 1 million naira. If it's a drainage and irrigation project, you have construction of irrigation dams and man-made lakes is 1 million naira. Drainage of wetlands, e.g. sand filling, is 100,000 naira per hectare. And then irrigation schemes greater than 50 hectares is 10,000 naira per hectare. These are estimations from the Federal Ministry of Environment and can be calculated to come about exact fee on your project. Then for railways, construction of new routes is 1 million naira. Construction of branch lines is 200,000 naira per kilometer. Transportation, road transport projects is 500,000 naira. Another category or another sector is resort and recreational development. A, construction of coastal resort facilities is 2 million naira. You pay as final access charge. Please look for my other webinar that I did, which is module 1 from Richflood office in Abuja. Module 1, please find it so that you understand what we mean by categorization of EIA. This is not all the amounts you're paying for statutory fees. You're paying statutory fees for other activities. This is only the final access charge. So if it's hilltop resorts, is 1 million naira. Resort facilities in national parks is 3 million naira. Then let's come to the power sector. The power generation and transmission. Okay. A, steam power station is 500,000 naira. Dams and reservoirs is 1 million naira. Combined cycle plants is 1 million naira. Then you have mining sector. A, mining new area, that's medium scale mining, is 1 million naira, final access charge. Then small scale mining is 500,000 naira. Ore processing and beneficiation is 1 million naira. Sand dredging is 500,000 naira per hectare or pro rata. Sand dredging, large scale, of course, quarries, is 500,000 naira per hectare. Let's go now to the petroleum, that's oil and gas sector. Well drilling aspect, exploration, appraisal aspect, and development aspect. We have these three segments. Under well drilling, you have swamp, land, near shore, offshore. So under well drilling, let's take swamp. Swamp is 150,000 naira per well for exploration and appraisal stage. Then for development stage is 150,000 naira per well as well. So then for land, under well drilling, you have 100,000 naira per well. You also have 100,000 naira per well under development. For near shore, you have 100,000 naira per well. You also have 100,000 naira per well. You also have 100,000 naira per well. Sorry, just a second. Just a second, please. You also have 100,000 naira per well for the near shore, and the same thing for development, exploration, appraisal stage, and development stage. Okay, so offshore is the same. Offshore is the same, 100,000 naira per well and 100,000 naira per well, both for exploratory appraisal stage and for development stage. So if you need clarification on this, maybe you are listening by phone, I mean audio, and you need clarification, please contact our office, info@richflood.com or projects@richflood.com, or both, so that you can get some response on how to prepare for this payment. So, you know, I was explaining, I said under well drilling, you have swamp, land, near shore, and offshore. So under swamp, we have some other categorization, under land the same, and offshore. This time around, I want to look at the 3D seismic and geophysical data interpretation per square kilometer, and how much it costs, how much is payable to the Federal Ministry of Environment as operational, and of course government revenue fees, you know. So we'll also look at flow station development flow lines. We'll also look at oil and gas pipeline. We'll look at facilities upgrade. We'll look at gas utilization plants. We'll look at lube oil blending plants. We'll look at LPG plants. We'll look at oil and gas storage tanks. So all of these have their different amounts to pay. Per square kilometer for swamp is 20,000 naira. For the 3D seismic and geophysical data interpretation per square meter is 20,000 naira. For land, the same 3D seismic and geophysical data interpretation is 10,000 naira per square meter. And for offshore is 5,000 naira per square meter. Then you go to the second under the well drilling, you go to flow station development flow lines. This is 1.5 million naira for swamp, 1 million naira for land, 1 million naira for offshore. Then you come to oil and gas pipeline. This is 50,000 naira per kilometer. And then 30,000, that's for swamp. Then 30,000 naira per kilometer for land, and then 200,000 naira per kilometer for offshore. Then you come to facilities upgrade. You have 1 million naira for swamp. You have 500,000 naira for swamp. You have 500,000 naira for offshore. If this is confusing, just send us an email and we will forward you the document so that you can go. It's free. The document is free. It's helpful. Very, very helpful. So we really thank the Ministry of Environment for producing this, because these estimations have caused a lot of chaos and not being sure of what to do or how to do it. But with this document from the ministry is quite helpful. So you can send us an email and we will forward you the comprehensive document if it's confusing. Okay. Then under gas utilization plants, you have 1.5 million naira for swamp, 1 million naira for land, and 1 million naira for offshore. Then under lube oil blending plants, you have 1.5 million naira for swamp, you have 1 million naira for land, you have 1 million naira for offshore. Under LPG plants, you have 1.5 million naira for swamp, 1 million naira for land, and 1 million naira for offshore. Under oil and gas storage tanks, you have 500,000 naira per 5,000 metric tons, and then 500,000 naira per 5,000 metric tons for land as well. Swamp and land, the same amount, and there is no amount stated here for the offshore. Okay, now let's go to another sector, which is waste treatment and disposal. That's talking about landfill or waste incineration facility or effluent treatment plants, you know, something like that. So we have these 4 categories. We have the waste, we have the landfills, we have the incinerators per unit, and we have the sewage/effluent treatment plants. So first is the treatment facility. That's for waste. Treatment facility is 2 million naira. Landfills, municipal is 2.5 million naira, medical is 5,000 naira, small scale is 250. Medical is 500,000 naira, small scale is 250,000 naira. And then under the sewage effluent treatment plant, you have municipal being 1 million naira and small scale being 250,000. We're almost concluding. Please stay with me. We have the water supply sector. So that is 500,000 naira. Then you have land reclamation, that's coastal reclamation, is 100,000 naira per hectare, and dredging I'm dealing with land reclamation, under which you have coastal reclamation and dredging. So coastal reclamation is 100,000 naira and dredging is 1 million naira. Then you have brewery. If your project is brewery, the final access charge is estimated at 2 million naira, and the telecoms sector, it is estimated at 50,000 naira per BTS site assessed. So I hope this is very helpful. I hope inquiries and arguments will reduce due to this, and my special appreciation to the Federal Ministry of Environment for releasing this document to Richflood. It is quite helpful. It gives direction. It gives an idea on the budgetary provisions to make for Richflood, and we thank you again for that. So you can reach us at info@richflood.com or send email copying projects@richflood.com. Thank you very much and goodbye.